The empirical rule.
Now it's time to look at the empirical rule. The empirical rule is also known as the 68, 95, 99.7 rule. The rule is most commonly used in statistics and data analysis when dealing with data sets that follow a normal distribution. The word empirical in empirical rule indicates that the rule is based on observed or empirical data. It is derived from real-world datasets that exhibit a bell-shaped or symmetric distribution. The empirical rule itself, however, emerged later as a practical guideline for analyzing normally distributed data. The rule gained popularity as a simple way to estimate proportions of data within certain ranges from the mean without requiring extensive calculation. Imagine you have a bunch of data points, and they are spread out in a symmetric bell-shaped curve. This means it looks the same on both sides when you fold it in half. You want to understand how they are spread out in this bell-shaped curve, just like the way data appears on a classic chart. Let's take a step-by-step look. The empirical rule says that in a symmetric distribution, start with a bell curve. Imagine a special kind of graph that looks like a hill or a bell. This is called a normal distribution. The middle is key. The middle of the bell curve is where most of the data tends to cluster. This is the average or mean value. Now, think of the empirical rule in three parts: 68%, 95%, and 99.7%. The first part of the rule says that about 68% of the data falls within one standard deviation of the mean in both directions. Picture a range that includes the middle, average, and goes out in both directions. So if the average data point is 100, the standard deviation is 10, then roughly 68% of the data points will be between 90 and 110. The second part tells us that around 95% of the data falls within two standard deviations of the mean. This is a wider range. So continuing with the previous example, around 95% of the data points will be between 80 and 120. The third part of the rule says that approximately 99.7% of the data is within three standard deviations of the mean. It is an even wider range. So following our example, about 99.7% of the data points will be between 70 and 130. Now you can understand why the empirical rule is a handy way to estimate where data points are likely to be in a normal distribution. It's like having a map that shows you how data is usually arranged, with most of it near the center and less of it as you move away from the middle. Move on to the next topic to learn about outliers.